Hey guys, well, this looks a little different than the last time you saw it. Been really busy here on the Mustang, after hours, after work. I think the last video I left off on, I was prepping the engine bay for paint. Well, you can see that's been done already. That came out really good, satin finish. Got all the grease and grime off, it painted here nicely. And that was done, and then I was off to the races, and I finished a lot of the projects on the car, including the pulley debacle. Got all that figured out, all the right pulleys on here. I'll kind of explain as I go here. These pulleys were custom made by CVF Racing. They're an American-made company. They make everything here in the US, and they were extremely helpful in helping me get the correct spacing and the correct pulley setup for this car. So, and everything is made out of billet aluminum, and the brackets are all super thick. You can kind of see in here. I'll show you my AC bracket. There's the AC bracket, and it's just a solid piece of billet that's polished to a mirror shine. It's just beautiful. They make everything there. They supply you with all the hardware, the spacers, and they were even awesome enough to send me a different size spacer that I needed that wasn't fitting. So they're just really great guys. Nate over there is the one I was dealing with. So we got the pulley debacle handled. Then I went over to my intake, and after I bolted everything together, I didn't like the intake that I had on it, so I sprung for the Endurashine, and I sent my other one back to Summit. That was a little bit of a splurge. Then you'll notice here that we have the MSD setup. I was going to do HEI, and then after deciding I was going to add a little bit of nitrous, which you can kind of see the Zex perimeter plate in there. After deciding I was going to run a little bit of nitrous on here, I needed to retard the timing by between 4 and 6 degrees, and the only way to do that is with one of these. That's the MSD Digital 6 box with the timing retard in there. So I wanted to run timing retard. Well, you can run the Digital 6 box and retrofit it into an HEI distributor, but I figured if I was this far, might as well go with the Pro billet. So I dropped in the Pro billet made for my car that matches my crank with the steel gear, so it works with my comp cam. And then after all that, I got to talking with another really great shop called Gearhead Performance over here in Tampa Bay area, and he was telling me that I was undercarbed with that Edelbrock Carburetor. I only had a 500 CFM carburetor on there, and by the calculations, I require around 600, 610 CFMs. So I decided to go with the this little Holley 650 double pumper. I think this is a, what is this? Yeah, I know it's an HP. I don't know the part number off the top of my head. Had to send back the original 302 valve covers by Scott Drake because they didn't clear the roller rockers, the Scorpion 1.6 roller rockers. So I added these Edelbrock tall polished aluminum roller rockers, which look really good. Then after I did that, I got to town with the plumbing. I decided to make all my own steel AN lines and keep them all neat. And symmetry and matching was my goal here, so I actually ran dual fuel pressure regulators, and those are by Aeromotive, which are really nice regulators. And I added the Mallory, I think these go up to, yeah, 15 PSI fuel pressure gauges that are liquid filled. So that's a nice little setup there, nice and reliable. So I'll know exactly what my fuel pressure is here at the gauge, and then I'll know what it is as it's running into both fuel supplies, which is the Zex the Zex fuel solenoid, which I'll be able to monitor the pressure right at the solenoid, and then I'm going to add a gauge at the actual Holley carburetor, so I know exactly what my pressure is there. So it's kind of some redundant gauges, but you can't be too careful when it comes to this stuff. And I have a lot of time and effort into this, and not to mention money. So this is my pride and joy. I also added a gauge pack up here, so I can monitor my engine diagnostics right here from the engine bay. Instead of having to go in there while I'm tuning, I can keep them up here. So I have a tachometer and of course the little triple stack there, and I try to keep everything nice and tidy. And I am in the middle of doing my wiring here for my binary switch for my evaporator and condenser and whatnot, so that'll get cleaned up too. I added the billet. This is by I think it was what was the company called? They're really good. Joe's something. This isn't one of the made in China ones. This is a handmade piece of billet. for the overflow bottle for the radiator, and I got the temperature radiator cap on here. I got the all aluminum radiator that I polished to a mirror shine, which came out pretty good. I got some more polishing to do on it. And then there's our Digital 6 box with all the adjustments that can be made here on the top, and I'm in the middle of wiring this too. That pink wire needs to go to the solenoids to activate the timing retard. So it's been a really big learning process for me. It's not been something that's been easy. I've had a lot of parts that have come in and gone back. As you can see, the transformation of this engine's gone through a bunch of different schemes. I swapped out those Excel wires for these 9mm Ford racing wires because they're just better wires and it looks better in here. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Oh yeah, let me see if my camera has enough battery power here. I'm gonna unplug it. Nope, not yet. I guess I'll blab right here. Let me hit my zoom. This bracket that you see here is a lifesaver. This is actually made for a Ford, where you can see my new throttle cable coming through the firewall there, and it mates right to that bracket, and that bracket right where my finger's pointing is adjustable, so you can adjust it perfectly to the exact perfect spot that you need to get the throttle at the exact right position to begin your tuning, which is really awesome. That was a big concern. That Edelbrock setup I had, it becomes a little bit of a cumbersome process trying to figure out the proper throttle cable bracketry. It's just, in my opinion and everything I've read, these Holleys it's going to be a better carburetor. It's going to be more appropriate for my engine. Your opinion may vary. Let's see. We're also running the MSD blaster coil, which I have neatly wired in there, running off the Optima battery. That's going directly to the Digital 6 and then into the distributor. So I have the full MSD ignition here, which should help out a lot in reliability. What else can I talk about in here? You know, of course, we have the one-wire alternator poking in back there, and that alternator fan was actually custom made by CVF Racing too, and I added that after the fact, just so it would match the power steering pulley over here. So lots of billet in there, and very lightweight pulleys, polished to a mirror shine. They're all clear coated. They're really, really nice. So yeah, this is where it's sitting right now. There's the AC that I installed in the car, and this is the AC kit by Old Air Products. It's actually getting ready to get the new lines installed on it, so now my next steps are to take the, they provide the compressor here, so I need to take my lines and I need to run them all the way in the back and all the way across the back of the firewall, and then I need to measure them appropriately and then have them crimped by a bubble style crimper. So I'm going to take them to an AC shop and have those professionally done. And I'm also on the hunt for the proper air cleaner setup up here. I tried a 14-inch, and I believe I need a 13-inch, or could be 13 and 12. I gotta look at my measurements, but I need to make sure I flow at least 650 CFMs, and that tiny little hat style air cleaner that I had just wouldn't flow enough. So always want to, you know, as I'm going through this and I'm learning, really pay attention to your math and pay attention to just because a part looks pretty doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work with the proper engine setup that you got going on. So everything, all the numbers have to match for harmony in the engine. So it's going to be an awesome day when I finally start this baby up, but we're not there yet. I still got to put the transmission in it, which I'll take you over to now. Here's the transmission that was in the car, and it's come a long way since I think you guys saw it last. I took it and I degreased the hell out of it, cleaned it really well, and after I spent about 3 hours cleaning it, I went on ahead and I painted it Ford blue so it matches the engine block, and that paint's not going anywhere. And then I went on ahead and I painted on all the lettering, just in case anybody ever gets under there, they'll know what it is. And then I also wrote FMX on it so they know it's an FMX tranny. And then I went on ahead and I replaced the gasket and the filter and modulator, so everything's good to go. And we of course have our Prothane mount to match the motor mounts that are already in the car, because I'm using Prothane in there as well. So that's about it. I really don't know much else to talk about here. I would take you on the other side of the engine, but I don't know if I have enough battery power. But I did kind of want to show you my nitrous arming switch here, so I might have to cut the camera off here for a second. Okay, so here I am coming around to the other side of the engine here, obviously. And here you can see another solution that Edelbrock provides right here is the really handy-dandy nitrous arming switch bracket, which basically allows the nitrous solenoids to engage at wide open throttle only without manual override. Of course you have the manual override in the car to arm the system, but once armed you get that activation by a micro switch, which is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate here. Reach my hand over here. So basically, got your throttle cable pulling back on the throttle, and right there at wide open throttle, as far as it goes back, it engages the switch, and you can hear the click, which is really cool. So that worked out really good. All the bracketry and everything with the Holley brand mixed with that Edelbrock arming bracket switch piece comes out really nice. So that's kind of in a nutshell what it looks like over here. We got some fuel line. This is the line that arms the nitrous fuel solenoid. So it's coming in off the bottom of the fuel pump on the bottom of the engine, coming around neatly and tethered, of course, over here with a rubberized retaining ring into an Edelbrock polished fuel filter, going on in and down into the regulator. You always want to put your filters before your regulator. Then your regulator is going to regulate the pressure here, get it to the adequate pressure for the nitrous system. Then it'll actually flow out and right here into the nitrous solenoid, where we can monitor pressure again here with this gauge. And then of course out from the solenoid, down and right there into the fuel area of the Zex perimeter plate. And the same thing happens over here on the reverse side. Here we are, we have our solenoids here. This is custom Purge routing from copper lines that I've done, which isn't finished yet. I got them purging up here in the grates, and I'm going to actually make this very concealed. I'm going to paint the lines black so you don't see anything. So it'll be very inconspicuous. And then our nitrous feed line goes right there on that nipple there from the bottle from the trunk. So a nice neat setup. No unnecessary wires or hoses or anything, and you can see right there where it goes into the back of the carb, or back of the plate, right underneath the carburetor. So it atomizes, supposed to atomize much better in the perimeter setup, but we will see. So that's hopefully the rundown, and what you guys have been getting a lot of emails. People want an update. What's going on with the Mustang? Did you abandon it again? Yada yada yada. No, didn't abandon it. We're rocking and rolling. I'm actually in the middle right now of tethering these wires. I'm gonna need to get a triple right here to tether that neatly. But I made sure all the Ford Racing lettering is facing outward on these wires, which is really cool. And I use these really awesome tethers with actual screws where I can actually tighten them down, so you don't have to worry about anything popping off and coming loose. So there's still quite a bit of work to do before first startup. I got one of those Summit Racing 3 horsepower starters that's going to go on to the tranny. New flex wheel, new flex plate, and torque converter here that I picked up. That's the huge 2500 RPM stall converter with the new 50 ounce imbalance 164 tooth flywheel for Ford. And then there's one of the headers there that I had to get out of the way while I was routing everything up there. So just give you guys a little shot here. And my little man, that's Diesel right there. He's a helper. And Tyler, if you're watching, no, he's not a yapper. He's actually really cool, and he hangs out. So here's my other co-workers. There's Murphy. There's little Cosby. He's a puppy. That's his sister. That's Gemma. And then I got 2 more hanging out in the house. Yeah, I'm crazy, but we feed them good. Buffalo Blue. So anyways, guys, and oh yeah, just so you can see, here's our bottle. This is the typical Zex bottle you get in the kit. You know, standard fare. You know, not nothing real crazy quality, but it feels pretty good. It's supposed to be a pretty good bottle. So we will again see. And then there's a Zex gauge that's going to go onto the back of the nitrous solenoid when I get to it. So, yeah, guys, that's where we are. A lot of time, effort, money, busted knuckles, frustration, fun, all mixed into one. If you guys are ever planning on restoring an old car, just be warned that it's not a fast process. I mean, you guys remember when we took on the interior here. I managed to get the interior pretty nice. Got it back to factory. All the AC vents. That's a whole nother video. Getting all the AC vents and everything routed for that Old Air Products AC setup. It's a damn nice setup, but holy shit, you need to have tiny hands and tiny arms to get all the routing done. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the long ass video and all my blabbering and commentary. I'll keep you updated as we go on. This is definitely, hopefully, going to be a nice little motor when it's all ready to go. So, anyway, thanks for watching my videos, and if you would be so kind to give me a rating and maybe a comment or something, I read everything, and I really do appreciate your viewership. So, thank you very much for watching. See you later.